I asked him, Tapper, when he was here, because he was telling me that these people who are in his book now lied to him when it was pre the election, that he tried and they were lying. And I said, what are you going to do with like these cabinet secretaries and these other sources too, who now come on your show and they're liars. They lied to you to protect him and their electoral chances. You know it. It's not like you just suspect it. Now you're telling me you know it. So do you book them again? Do you give them the platform on CNN? And he said he'd have to think about it. I mean, there's really nothing to think about. The answer is no. According to his theory, they're responsible for his humiliation too.
Right. Look, politicians lie, as we know. All politicians lie on both sides of the political aisle. So if you take a pledge to never interview a politician who has lied publicly or lied to you, you're never going to have an interview with a politician again. So I can kind of see where he's coming from. What I would look out for, though, as anyone watching cable news, I know that audience is quickly dwindling, but nonetheless, if you still watch cable news and you're still willing to give someone like Jake Tapper a chance, pay close attention to whether he fact checks politicians, whether he asks tough follow-up questions, or whether he's willing to just accept what figures from one political party have to say at face value. Because I think that's what the problem was. He had no problem calling out the lies of Republican lawmakers or members of the Trump camp. But for whatever reason, there seemed to be this favoritism toward the Democratic Party and Democratic figures, and that's where he got himself into a lot of trouble. The other thing I would say, and this isn't just for the media, this is just for voters of all political persuasions. There's a lot of tribalism in the country. I fell in that trap for a long time as well, where I thought, Republicans are lying about everything, and I'm not going to believe anything they have to say. They're just making things up. Well, because I had that mindset, I actually missed some of what was going on in the country that they were trying to raise some alarm about. And so don't automatically assume that your political opponents are bringing up issues that don't really exist. They might be exaggerating. There might be some hyperbole, but it's worth digging into to see if there's a legitimate concern. And I say the same for Republican voters as well. Don't just write off Democrats as individuals you should listen to. And I'm specifically talking about voters here, right? Love your fellow American, regardless of their political affiliation. Okay, obviously there are exceptions for people who make a point to be hateful, loathsome human beings, but I don't think the majority of Americans fall in that category. When it comes to people in positions of power, whether they be Democrats or Republicans, hold them accountable, fact check them. Don't just believe what they have to say at face value.
And happily, our audience is doing that right now. This July, there is a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the US dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for US dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings. While this transition, if it happens, would not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.